Ezekiel chapter 45.
When you allot the land as an inheritance, you shall set aside for the Lord a portion of the land as a holy district, 25,000 cubits long and 20,000 cubits wide. It shall be holy throughout its entire extent. Of this, a square plot of 500 by 500 cubits shall be for the sanctuary, with 50 cubits for an open space around it. In the holy district you shall measure off a section 25,000 cubits long and 10,000 wide, in which shall be the sanctuary, the most holy place. It shall be a holy portion of the land. It shall be for the priests who minister in the sanctuary and approach the Lord to minister to Him. And it shall be both a place for their houses and a holy place for the sanctuary. Another section, 25,000 cubits long and 10,000 cubits wide, shall be for the Levites who minister at the temple, as their holding for cities to live in. Alongside the portion set apart as the holy district, you shall assign as a holding for the city an area 5,000 cubits wide and 25,000 cubits long. It shall belong to the whole house of Israel. And to the prince shall belong the land on both sides of the holy district and the holding of the city, alongside the holy district and the holding of the city on the west and on the east, corresponding in length to one of the tribal portions and extending from the western to the eastern boundary of the land. It is to be his property in Israel. And my princes shall no longer oppress my people, but they shall let the house of Israel have the land according to their tribes. Thus says the Lord God, Enough, O princes of Israel! Put away violence and oppression, and do what is just and right. Cease your evictions of my people, says the Lord God. You shall have honest balances, an honest ephah and an honest bath. The ephah and the bath shall be of the same measure, the bath containing 1/10 of a homer, and the ephah 1/10 of a homer. The homer shall be the standard measure. The shekel shall be 20 gerahs. 20 shekels, 25 shekels, and 15 shekels shall make a mina for you. This is the offering that you shall make: 1/6 of an ephah from each homer of wheat, and 1/6 of an ephah from each homer of barley, and as the fixed portion of oil, 1/10 of a bath from each core. The core, like the homer, contains 10 baths. And 1 sheep from every flock of 200 from the pastures of Israel. This is the offering for grain offerings, burnt offerings, and offerings of well-being to make atonement for them, says the Lord God. All the people of the land shall join with the prince in Israel in making this offering. But this shall be the obligation of the prince regarding the burnt offerings, grain offerings, and drink offerings at the festivals, the new moons, and the Sabbaths, all the appointed festivals of the house of Israel. He shall provide the sin offerings, grain offerings, the burnt offerings, and the offerings of well-being to make atonement for the house of Israel. Thus says the Lord God, In the first month, on the first day of the month, you shall take a young bull without blemish and purify the sanctuary. The priest shall take some of the blood of the sin offering and put it on the doorposts of the temple, the 4 corners of the ledge of the altar, and the posts of the gate of the inner court. You shall do the same on the 7th day of the month for anyone who has sinned through error or ignorance. So you shall make atonement for the temple. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, you shall celebrate the festival of the Passover, and for 7 days unleavened bread shall be eaten. On that day the prince shall provide for himself and all the people of the land a young bull for a sin offering. And during the 7 days of the festival he shall provide as a burnt offering to the Lord 7 young bulls and 7 rams without blemish on each of the 7 days, and a male goat daily for a sin offering. He shall provide as a grain offering an ephah for each bull, an ephah for each ram, and a hin of oil to each ephah. In the 7th month, on the 15th day of the month, and for the 7 days of the festival, he shall make the same provision for sin offerings, burnt offerings, and grain offerings, and for the oil.